Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just fully relax those eyelids, and with your eyes closed, notice you can focus more on the sound of my voice. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to become aware of your surroundings. The temperature in the room, perhaps noises far off in the distance, the speed of your breathing. As you become more aware of any tension in your body, and maybe that's a tightness in the jaw, perhaps muscles in the forehead, around your eyebrows. Notice as you breathe in and breathe out, that tension starts to melt away. Breathing in and breathing out, become aware of any tension in your neck and shoulders. And just imagine an ice cube melting in the sun, and start to imagine that all the tension in your body is melting away, enabling you to feel that every outward breath is taking you deeper relaxed. And the more relaxed you go, the more your imagination awakens. And your imagination could be thought of as a portal, an interface between the conscious and the unconscious mind. I want you to use the power of that imagination to picture a large pine tree. Not just any pine tree, but a pine tree that you can remember from your past. I want you to imagine going all the way back in time at your current age and your current body, back then, to smell the unique smell of that pine tree. Just imagine being in that place, and imagine feeling the thick bark, the texture on your fingertips there on that tree trunk. Maybe there's a pine cone or pine needles nearby. Imagine picking them up, touching them, smelling them, feeling them, getting a sense that you're back there around that pine tree. I want you to imagine walking until you see a familiar house. And I want you to imagine seeing a younger version of you leaving that house. I want you to imagine that, for now at least, you at the current age are invisible. You're able to navigate that space and that time, but no one else can see you. And I want you to imagine following a day of this younger version of you. But I want you to imagine following a specific day. A specific day, perhaps, where that younger version of you was offered the lead part in a play. Perhaps you could imagine being in the room, maybe a classroom, seeing that facial expression of joy or excitement when that younger version of you is given the news, they will play that part. And maybe you can see that younger version of you being given some lines or a script, but not necessarily being told what to do with it. Maybe there are assumptions being made that this little girl just knows what to do with lines for a play. And you can just observe as this little girl goes back home, excitedly telling her parents that she's going to be in the school play. And maybe you can observe facial expressions, maybe of pride, maybe something else, all the way back then, of those parents happy to see their child using initiative, taking on a challenge. But I want you to also observe how caught up those parents were in running a business and living their life. I want you to get a sense that every moment in your life was a double-edged sword. Every pain gave you a lesson. I want you to get a sense that here in this moment, there was an opportunity for you to prepare, but you didn't know it back then. I want you to imagine seeing that younger version of you being asked if they're memorizing their lines, and feeling the pressure to say yes, even though maybe you didn't know what that was, or even how to memorize. I want you to imagine that little girl, maybe in a few days' time, goes back to that large pine tree. I want you to imagine that you're also there at your current age, your current experience, there by the pine tree, and just when that little girl, that younger version of you, is on their own, you're no longer invisible, and you can say hello. And maybe this younger version of you is cautious because you're an adult they haven't seen before. But say whatever words you would need to say to build trust, give reassurance. And maybe you tell them that you are them from the future, and give them evidence by telling them what their favorite thing is, or a memory that only they would know. Or maybe you don't, and just say that you're a friend of the family that cares, which is true. I want you to imagine that you do something to build rapport, and be asked about their life, play a game, pay a compliment. And when you feel that rapport is there between you as you are now and that version of you all the way back then, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to ask that younger version of you about that school play. Maybe you can detect some nervousness, trepidation, or maybe there wasn't at that point in time. But I want you to ask the question how they're preparing for it. Reassure them that it's okay to ask any questions. And maybe they share something, maybe there's a moment of vulnerability where they confide in you that they don't really know how to prepare. And I want you to offer to help. And if that younger version of you accepts that help, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to help in whichever way you would have wanted to have been helped back then. Maybe practice. Maybe sharing some memory techniques. Maybe encouragement. Whatever help this younger version of you needed, feel that you are there to give it. Perhaps you could imagine practicing for hours around that large pine tree until this younger version of you knows the lines so well that the next time a mother asks if she's been memorizing the lines, imagine as you observe this younger version of you with a big smile, proudly saying, "Of course, I know it very well." I want you to notice that as he gets closer to the play, the confidence grows. When there is just a week to go until the play, and your mother asks if you want to practice some lines, just imagine observing as that little girl practices flawlessly. No anxiety from the mother. A sense of confidence. Hear the words of encouragement coming back. As that little girl hears that she will do great. There is a sense of ease, confidence, comfort. And then imagine observing, again invisible, as she practices just with a few people in the classroom. Does a great job. See the facial expression as she hears those words of encouragement, approval, validation, that she's doing great. Any minor bits of feedback, she acknowledges, adjusts, practices again, and then gets better and better. And then imagine you're one of many people in the audience of an auditorium as you watch this younger version of you do a play. See her doing it well, confidently. And when it's finished, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine rewinding it to just moments before the play starts. Maybe she's getting changed, putting on a costume. And I want you to imagine giving her a gift, a resource. Whatever you needed most back then, imagine receiving it. Maybe it's encouragement. Maybe self-belief. Maybe a sense of confidence. Maybe courage or bravery or something else. I want you to imagine that you're giving her something that she needs, but in return, she's giving you something that you need. See this as an exchange of presents. But the presents aren't boxes with wrapping paper and bows. These are glowing balls of energy, each representing a resource. As you start thinking about what you had all the way back then in abundance that you need right now, feel that you're taking it, absorbing it, placing it in your chest, and feeling that resource ripple to every cell in your body, and likewise see the same thing happening to her. And then imagine that you become her and she becomes you, just long enough for you to feel like you're in her body and the play is about to start. You don't have to remember the lines. You just have this deep conviction that you've prepared, you've done enough, you've done the work, and you're at the level you need to be. Imagine confidently going out on that stage, performing well, getting your words right. Imagine feeling a sense of accomplishment, confidence, a wonderful feeling of not so much relief, but pride that you've prepared well and you've got the benefits of exceeding even your own expectations. And if it feels like you've relived that memory the way you would have wanted it to have been, let me know by nodding your head. Imagine the play finishes, and after the play, imagine getting a hug from your parents at the age they were back then, hearing wonderful words of approval, telling you did great, that you made them proud. Feel the hug, hear the words, and feel that this is sending a ripple through space and time all the way up to the present version of you, where something that was out of equilibrium now becomes balanced. But you can still choose to work hard when you need to work hard. You can still check that you're doing what is necessary to get the outcomes required. But I want you to feel that something is adjusting within you. A voice of fear, of shame. A voice that has been telling you you're not doing enough, you're not being enough, is now replaced with a more friendly, encouraging, supportive voice, perhaps similar in tone to your voice, to that younger version of you. I want you to get a sense that you will be the voice to you that you were to them when they needed you most, encouraging, supportive, helpful, giving you guidance and preparation if needed, but equally replacing shame and fear with preparation and belief. And if your unconscious mind is willing to update to a new way of thinking that is giving you the best of both worlds, sufficient motivation to prepare, but also willing to replace shame with encouragement, to replace fear with belief, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to spend one last moment around that pine tree with that younger version of you. And I want you to give just a few pearls of wisdom of advice that would have helped you dramatically had you heard it back then when you were that age. What did you need to hear? What did you want to hear? And maybe it's something as simple as a phrase. You are enough. You are loved. You are capable. Or something else. Give the words, the advice, the information, and then finally give a hug. And tell that young girl that she is destined for great things. And then return to the present, taking all these changes with you, feeling that shame is replaced with something much more useful. As you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, feel like you're returning to the present as you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connecting fully in the present moment. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, confident, with a renewed sense of certainty and self-belief that will echo in all those challenging things in your future. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.